It's Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee, of course, and I have two special guests joining me today. We have Sonia Curry in the building and Dr. Lucille O'Neill. I can call you doctor, right?
Yes, you can.
You prefer
Thank
that?
You.
Okay. Well, perfect. And you guys have teamed up to put out a new show, Raising Fame, which is all about parents raising their children who have gone on to become famous and some of the things that happen. And nobody better to host that show than the two of you.
Oh, thank you.
You know, clearly you both have famous children, very talented children, but that's not an easy journey.
No.
It's not. No, it's not. Mm-hmm. But with this program, we're able to share a lot of the stories coming from other parents because we often talk about how they're then, even ours, is not there now. And it's been a journey to get to the place where all of us are. And those are stories that we want to share. But it's ironic how we came together. Mm-hmm. Sonia interviewed me.
For the podcast when we
And
did
then y'all
it.
just hit it off.
And then we hit it off, and then we wanted to present it as a TV show. We were like, well, who's going to host with me instead of Dell? And the first person that I thought of and the first person that our producers, Eric and Tracy, thought of was Lucille. And so, bam, we were we were in tandem with that and on the same page and called her, and graciously she said yes. So here we are.
Dr. O'Neill, how was that for you, being on that side of things? I saw in the trailer, you talked about like, ooh, you do get a little nervous when it's time to be the person sitting in that chair interviewing someone.
We get nervous, but we try to stay mindful of who we're talking to, and we try to put ourselves in that place because the tables could turn.
Right. That's
and
a
we're
fact.
just mindful of the questions that we ask and how we go about doing the interview. But everyone that we talked to, that we made them feel comfortable. We were honored that they invited us into their homes, and it has been working out really well.
And being in their homes and going to the hometowns and seeing where the journey started makes you more at ease.
Right.
Because all of our guests were just so welcoming, as Lucille just said. And it was like we do it at their kitchen tables or in their living rooms. And, it was just it was like talking to friends about our children, you
Right.
know? And so it's just like, let's just sit down and let's just share, parental stories about, the ups, the downs, the challenges that we had with parenting, and a lot of times our faith, because that was a common theme, was our
Yes.
faith along the
Absolutely.
way. And, we were blessed. I mean, everyone who is going to watch this show is going to be blessed. But every interview that Lucille and I left with, we left with just like a fullness about just life and humanity and just the community of parenting in general.
And if there's anything that parents love doing, is talking about their kids.
Amen.
I know that from my
Yes.
own experience. My parents are always calling me from some random place. I'm like, how do they know you're my parents? Like, y'all just walked in somewhere. Because they used to love to go places. They're like, oh, I'm here with the person at the supermarket. They want to say hi. I'm like, now, how did this even come up? Were you guys like that as moms? Like, at first, initially, when your kids were kind of starting to blow up, to go places and kind of like bragging on your kids?
We're still in that place.
Yeah, we
We're still in
are.
that
Their
place.
journey's still going, right?
Yeah, I have to remind people sometimes my name is Lucille, and because they call me Shaq's mama. And then I say, well, I got other children too. I'm Latifah's mama, Aisha's mom, Jamal's mom, not only Shaq's mom. So we
You
have
both
to go
have
through a
that in
whole story.
common.
Yes. Yes.
How was that too? Just because, obviously with Shaquille, with Steph Curry, they are very superstars. But then you guys do also have other children, and you want to make sure that, sometimes people could feel away.
It's a family affair.
Yeah.
It would be different if they were not included in the things that Shaquille does, but he includes the entire family.
Right.
And I was telling one of the young ladies that we were speaking to in the green room that after a while, our young men become our daddies. They want to be the boys want to become our daddies, but our family is very protective of each other and has been working out very well.
How much did he weigh when he was born?
7'11".
Okay, that's
not even big.
Yeah,
I mean,
not-
poor little
no
Stephen
one
was
would've known.
6 something. Something happened along the way. I don't know what you were feeding Shaq, because I definitely wasn't feeding Stephen that. But, to your point, it was just, as a family, you have sibling rivalries in general, right?
Yeah. Oh, you had the craziest
Oh,
one.
the crazy, yes. And so, you have to really rear your children to not think about that. Like in our house, we are not competitors.
Right.
We are protectors of each other. And, all 3 of my children have really establish some notoriety, all three of them. And then, but the beautiful thing along the way of raising them was we are all in this together. You know, we're one big machine, we're one big Curry family. And so everybody, you know, serves a purpose in creating who we are. And so everybody, you know, Lucille and I have talked about this a lot, and with other parents, you know, we make sure that we let them know that everybody was created for a purpose.
Yes.
And, you know, they have to be nurtured that way independently. We have this thing in our family where it's like we treat you equally, but not the same.
Okay.
Because equally means I'm going to
Yeah.
give you 100% of me as a parent, but it's going to look a little bit different because y'all are a little bit different.
Right.
And so meeting them where they each were individually, I think gave them the confidence to not be jealous of each other, but to know they're doing the best in what they've been called to do, and so they can cheer each other on.
Did doing this show, Raising Fame, make you guys think about how you were raised and the lessons
absolutely.
that
It
you
did.
learned from your parents growing up? And if you could share a little bit of some of the reflections that you had while you were interviewing people like John Legend and Danielle Brooks and Kevin Durant and you know, Chadwick Boseman's parents even. What were some of the things that you guys were thinking about how you were raised and what brought you to be in this space that you're in right now?
What I loved about being raised, you know, from my mom was that she was always there to cheer me on. Like she never put any parameters around anything that I did, and whatever I did, she was always present. She was there cheering me on, sometimes more than I wanted her to. And I found myself when my kids got older, I'm in the stands as people are, you know, I've seen on TV a lot. I'm just the loud one, you know, and Dell was the more subdued one. And so sometimes I catch myself going, "Oh, you're acting just like your mom, so chill out a little bit." Because I would be, I'd be embarrassed when my mom was doing that sometimes. So I'm like, I know they're embarrassed.
And we've
but,
seen you,
but just being present, just being present with them.
Well, I often think about what my mother used to tell me. When you see the gift in your children, you need to nurture the gift. And so that's what I try to do with all of my children, because they all have a special gift. I believe that everyone has a gift anyway. But my mother told me, she looked at Shaquille one day. She said, that one right there, he's special. And I just believe because of his presence in this world that he is a special kind of a man. And I continue to push and nurture that. And then I tell Jamal, you can't be Shaquille. Shaquille, you're absolutely not Jamal. Tifa, you can't be Aisha. Aisha never tried to be Latifah. So all of them have a special gift, but just being warm and kind and generous and compassionate, we try to really, really just continue to teach them to do that. And when we sit around and talk with the parents, we realize that all of us are in a place where we can relate to each other. The folk that we interview, they're on the other side of the table, but the stories that they tell us, some of them we've been there, done that, might be in the same place, but it blesses us to be able to hear what they're telling us so that we can share in their place that they're in. It's so amazing. I can't wait for the viewers to watch it. We prayed, we laughed, we cried, and they're going to be doing all of that when they see this program.
How did you guys decide which would be the premiere episode? Because I know that's a big deal, too, when you think about, okay, this show is coming out. It's going to be out July 7th, by the way, at 10 p.m., 9 Central on TV1. But Danielle Brooks and her parents are first. Both of her parents are present for that interview and throughout. So how did you decide on that one as the premiere?
Well, we didn't really have a say in
Okay,
that.
that's probably good.
No,
Somebody else make the
you know, the network TV1, and then our producers Eric and Tracy, thank you. Eric and Tracy Simler actually have worked on that behind the scenes, and I'm kind of glad because we would leave every episode
Like, that
going,
was the
"This
best
one's
one."
going to be first," and then we get to the next one, we're like, "Oh man, well this one's going to be first," and so all of them to us had a special place in our hearts. So I'm glad we didn't have to decide.
And as a surprise, I have an episode with my children and Shaquille. And we haven't told anybody that, so I let the cat out of the bag.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
And
That's-
I had
that's
to do that
special
one
for
by
us.
myself.
Entertaining.
I had to do that one all by myself. So.
But y'all know each other so well now. I'm sure like that is like having a conversation with a
Yes.
friend. And you guys have a lot in common. You're both authors
Yes.
as well. So congratulations
Thank
you.
you.
on that. Now I want to talk about these these book titles. So Walk Like You Got Somewhere to Go.
Walk like you have.
Oh, like you have somewhere to go. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry for my
No, that's
language.
okay.
Yes.
That's okay, but we're going to get it right. And the subtitle is From Mental Welfare to Mental Wealth.
Okay.
And I talk about 40 years of my life, how when Shaquille was born, I had no business being a mother, but going back, I was only 17, about to be 18, and I in my memoir, they call it a memoir, but I call it a testimony. I tell about the years that I traveled. I was not always in a good place, but God has blessed me. I'm in a better place now, and I'm wealthy, mentally wealthy. And there was a time when I wasn't. So it doesn't have anything to do with the dollar bill, but I got a sound mind.
And you went back to school.
I went back to school, and I was in my 40s, late 40s. And when you have a dream, I tell young people, when you have a dream, don't ever let go of it, because I was coming out of high school when Shaquille was born, but I always had a dream to go to college. We teach our children, you need a college education, go to college. And I felt bad because I didn't have any, but God bless Shaquille. He said, Mommy, if you go to college and you keep your grades up, I'll pay your tuition.
Wow.
So I had some drive and determination. I wanted to go to college. So,
That's
so
that
it
parent
worked out
boy,
good.
right? That boy parent.
I'm
that you
so
talked
happy.
about.
I am
Listen,
so
I'm a
happy.
forever student, so I love
Me
that
too.
because I feel like no matter what, like I'm the type of person, I'm still taking classes and courses. I just took my real estate exam this year and passed and got my license in that. But
Congratulations.
I think you can never learn enough. And I
That's
think if you
right.
have a dream and being able to pursue something, what was that like for you to actually get your
It
degree?
was so rewarding. And you know why it was rewarding? Because I took the classes, I did the work, and they didn't have to just hand it to me.
Right.
And that was so amazing to me, because over 40, you know, it's not kicking in like it used to when you were 20 and 25.
I be forgetting
so
everything.
I fought for it, and I'm so happy that I completed the courses.
Yes.
When I think about it, it's a permanent smile on my face, because the journey from going to Bethune-Cookman, University of Phoenix, then back to Bethune-Cookman, working on the board, is so rewarding for me, because I put in the work. And I tell young people, put in the work. You're going to be rewarded.
And didn't you graduate cum laude too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I did the work.
Just want to make sure we don't forget that part too.
I did the work.
Showing off.
And that's
up
not
in
something
here.
they can hand you. That's
I
something
did
you
the
really
work.
do have to earn.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And for you, Sonia, your book is called Fierce Love. All right. And I saw Steph Curry actually sat down and did a nice interview with you for the book to come out.
Yes, yes.
That must have been fun to have him sit there and interview you.
It was.
in front of an
It's,
audience.
You know, to have your child sit and, well, sometimes it can be a little intimidating because you're like, do they remember the stories that I put in the book? My middle son, Seth, had made me laugh because they interviewed him and he was like, I don't remember none of that. And I'm like, dude. But it was fun because they participated in it. Like I asked them to give me their top 3 memories of them growing up and parenting. And so they did. So they participated in what went in the book. But for me, it was, you know, it was some healing that went into that because you get to go all the way back to when I was a child and, you know, to speak to your question before of how we were raised, how it affected how I raised my children, to go all the way back to the beginning of my childhood and bring it forth to where we are right now, my children being adults. And so I got to kind of revisit my life up until 50 years of age. And so there were really moments of being proud, but there were also a lot of moments of vulnerability, of sharing stories with other people, and very therapeutic and rewarding because I never thought I'd be an author.
Right.
Never thought. So, you know, you talk about the degree and becoming a doctor and me becoming, you know, an author. I just shake my head and I smile too because it's like, we say, you say don't say a book, say, you know, it's our testimony. And we all have testimonies in us.
Absolutely.
Everybody's life is a book.
Yes.
So
And I think it's timing too. Like, when is the right
Yes.
time to write a book? Because, you know, I think about that too, and I never wanted to do something like that too early. And it's also hard because it is you like putting a lot of things and trying to figure out like what's too much to give, what's the balance of like what I want to say. Because you're also, when you tell your story, telling other people's stories as well, because that plays a role in who you are, you know.
And Angela, the ghostwriter that I had, you know, he told me once we put our stories on paper, it really is no longer our book. It's no longer our story, because people take our stories and they, encompass them into their lives,
Right.
and then they use it whichever way they want to use it or need to use it. And so
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I just wanted to make sure that my story could help and encourage somebody else along this journey of parenting, because
Yeah.
it's not easy.
And there's a lot of honesty that you had,
Yes.
in yours. And you're right. Once you do, it is not just your story anymore.
No.
You're sharing that, and people will interpret it how they want.
Yes.
They'll critique what they want to critique. They'll support what they want to support. But everybody's going to have a different emotion
Yes.
attached to it. And sometimes, like, we cannot make ourselves seem perfect. You
But
know?
that is the plan, to put it out there, because
Yeah.
you know that there are so many people that have that same story.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things remain the same. The only thing that changes is the name.
Right.
And I
Right.
found that to be true.
Yes.
And you guys had a great interview with Magic Johnson,
Yeah.
and had the opportunity to talk. And it was so honest, like, to hear you guys pulling things out of people that I don't know if anybody could handle it with a degree of, delicateness, that you were able to do that as well, coming from the space that you guys are coming from. Just to hear him talk about even like getting diagnosed with HIV and being so open and vulnerable about that situation, and also how that affects your family. Because that is something that not only did he say that, but it's also now your mom is dealing with, all of that and having to speak on that too.
Well, Angela, we put ourselves in Miss Chris's place.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to just see it from both sides, and being able to sit down and just talk with Magic, Miss Chris, and other members of the family. It was a blessing for us as well.
Right.
And we believe in having compassion. We looked over the questions that we were going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't pull. We made them comfortable, and we got comfortable too. Just like we're sitting down talking now.
Right.
We felt at home, and they felt at home with us, and that's why they were able to open up with us. And Magic felt really comfortable telling his story.
And
Yeah.
that's why we're also just so, hearing you recount that just took me to that place of sitting with him. And that's why this show is so special. It's just not a show. It's not reality TV. It is real TV. And these are people doing interviews that have never done interviews before,
Right.
but somehow God has opened their hearts to us and allowed us to come into their homes and to hear these stories. I mean, the late Chadwick Boseman's parents never done an interview before, and after his passing, they're still grieving.
Right. Absolutely.
And they were like, they don't even want to say his name because of their grief. And so to allow cameras, Lucille and I to come in and
Yeah.
talk about
That's a trust.
him, that's
It is.
God. That's God saying He needed this for the world. So this is serious for us. This is just not about Hollywood or
Right.
our fame or anything. It is really about building community around truth and around vulnerability and around encouragement as parents, because nobody sets out to say, I'm going to raise a famous person.
Right. There's
We
no
ju-
blueprint for
Right.
it either.
We just need to make sure we don't get in the way is what needs to happen as parents. And so, this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for anyone who will watch it. For us, after we've been a part of it, the producers, the network, it has just been a wonderful, blessed experience for us.
And besides that, it's not our story to tell.
Right.
Yes.
And so we appreciate the opportunity has come that a lot of people can tell their own story. We've been dealing with social media for a while. We've been dealing with media
as
for a while.
parents.
We sit down talking to people, and they don't always get the story the way we've given it.
Right.
But this
Yes.
time, you're going to get honesty. You're going to get the story, and it's coming from the person that can only tell it the way that it should be told.
Man, I'm looking forward to seeing all of the episodes. Like I told you guys beforehand, I've seen 2 of them, and the other one I saw was Fantasia. And so we were talking earlier about being a teenage mom, and Fantasia's mom was a teenage mom. Fantasia was a teenage mom, and there's a stigma that can be attached to that. But look at the success that all of you have had in raising your children. And, I just love that, because sometimes people think you can't have it all.
Right.
Or, it's just like, oh man, this is a throwaway or whatever. But look at that. Like, I just love the way that she was able to tell that story, even talking about Fantasia's name. you know, and how she decided to name her daughter Fantasia. Like, that was such an interesting story to me and something that I've never heard before.
You're going to hear a lot that you've never heard before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously. And it's going to bless you as well.
And the other part about the show, that it's not even just about the parents telling the story. It is an opportunity for the celebrity to actually tell a love letter to their parents.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had Billy Porter Jr. and his, you know, that interview with his mom.
And his sister.
And sister together. And then, you know, his mom's recently passed.
Oh, wow.
So they'll have this show
That's beautiful.
to keep forever. And, you know, they may have, they wouldn't have had it. I won't say they may not have had it. They would not have had it. If it had not been for this show. So those are the things that people are going to see, and we're really proud of.
And I know some of these episodes will say parents, but then also and his mom, right? Now, were there situations where, like, we would have loved for the father to be involved?
There are some.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it just didn't happen the way.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And some of the episodes, you know, that we've done, even like with the podcast, was, you know, it was older siblings. So, you know, as we continue with this show, it's really just about whoever raised the celebrity or had, and, you know, some input and influence into their lives. So, yeah, there are dads, there's moms and grandparents and, you know, siblings, as we talked about, who played huge roles in the celebrities' lives. Raising them.
When we think about work ethic, right? And, you know, sometimes we can watch some of these documentaries and be like, their parents were so hard on them. They made them do X, Y, and Z. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are, because there is a balance between pushing your children to be their best, but then sometimes people feel it. Like, I think when we watch things today, people take things differently. Some people are like, their parents were so hard on them, they're so strict. Why are you doing that to a kid? Why can't you let them be a kid? Versus, I see the talent in you, and I want to push you to be the best that you can be. Can you speak on that a little bit as far as your own experiences with your children?
I want to say, Angela, communication has been so important in our family because Shaquille had a dream. And we realized that in order to help that dream manifest, he would have to be the one to put in the work. But the foundation that was laid, the family is going to support you. It made it a little easier for him because he knew that he had to put in the work, and we just continued to encourage him. It wasn't easy because a lot of times he didn't want to do it.
Right.
But the encouragement that a parent gives to the child is so important because they think they're alone if they're trying to do it one way, and then they have the influence from the outside world. But when you have that family support, that system in itself, it makes for a better person. They learn how to work because what you want, you have to work for it. It's not given to you. So in all of that, the work ethic is made. Whatever you want, you go to work. You don't wait for anybody to give it to you. So it starts way back when. And we as parents have dreams too. Our dreams may come later,
Right.
because we learn how to put them first. But yet and still, we all put in the work.
And I'm probably one of those parents that's in rehab for being too hard. You know, talked earlier about the fact that I ran a school, started my own school, was the head of
The
school.
Montessori schools?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my kids had to go to school with me till 6th grade. And then, you know, I'm coaching too, coach my daughter, and I'm just always on them. I know they just felt like, if this woman don't go away. But, you know, and there are moments, like I say this in my book, there's moments where I'm like, was I too hard? You know, was I too hard? Or let me put it this way. Did I play enough of, you know, like the mommy role where I'm the nurture one or whatever, or was I just always coaching and teaching?
Right.
And then we do an episode with one of the celebrities whose mom managed him. And he said, there's sometimes where I just wanted my mom to hug me.
Oh.
And she's saying, I want to just help you. I got to help you. This is my job. I got to look after you. And so she's in that mindset of that. And he's going, I appreciate that. But there are moments where I just need my mom. So, you know, we'll hear stories about that, and where it's a balance of, you want to help them, you want to be present, you want to nurture them, but you can't forget that they just need their parents,
Right.
and that our roles change along the way. You know, you're one way, you know, when they're babies, and you're this, as they get older, high school, and then college. And then I've just settled in on right now as the adult, because we're still the parents and they're still progressing in their journeys of celebrity, is just be present and pray, because that's all I can do now. And I'm somewhat trying to get back some of those moments of just being present and not having to help solve anything or coach them. Just, as Lucille will say often, just listen. They just need to listen. They don't need advice anymore.
And I made mention a few years back when I had dealings with a lot of the mothers of the professional basketball players. I reminded them, you're not the girlfriend. You are still the mother. So we all had to make sure we stayed in our place.
Yeah.
We're going to always be the mother. Can't be the girlfriend. We get a little extra money. We want to wear the diamonds and drive the beautiful cars, but we're not the girlfriends.
Right.
Or wives.
Or wives.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, and I saw you said you had to learn to be like, well, that you raised your sons. It's like, okay, now y'all take over for the wives.
Yes, they're yours.
Yeah, it's all yours, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's hard also seeing things like in the press and all the drama sometimes. And now you got to be like, what's going on over there? Do you mind your business when it comes to that? Or do you actually ask questions?
Mind your business.
I do both. I'm going to ask questions, and I'm
I
going to
mind my business till the phone rings, and then I'll ask questions. But
well, you talk about balance. We know when to let up, and we know to press in.
That's hilarious. Now, were Steph and Seth very competitive against each other? Because, you know, it is such a competitive sport. And for both of them to have the success that they've had, what do you teach them at home? Are they going at it like...
I loved it because we're a very competitive family anyway. So
Did it
it's
ever
just
get
going to
into
be
like, I'm not talking to you?
Yeah, but you know, as long as you're respectful to each other and you use those as teachable moments
Right.
too. You know, of making sure the priority's right. I'd be pissed too if I lost. So
Right.
I couldn't get on them for getting mad when, my middle son used to always say,
Good
Stephen cheats. He cheats. Y'all always call fouls for him. And da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, no, we're not whining up in here. You're just going to have to figure this out. So, you just learn how to just bring positive out of that. And those are the things of life too. So you use them as life teaching moments, and it's fun because we're a competitive family. So I try not to squash competition because that's what they need to be successful.
Right.
They have to have
Absolutely.
that drive to want to beat the next person, whether it's going into an office or on a court or on a stage or wherever you're going to be, whatever genre of business and professionalism you're in. You need that. You need that inner drive and competition to be the best.
And Dr. Lucille O'Neal, I want to ask you, since we've been talking about this mental health journey, and I think today the newer generation is definitely a lot more aware of their mental health and the space that they need. I feel like things were a lot different. It was more
Yes,
like
they
toughen
were.
up. Man up, do what you got to do. And we try to make sure that we don't show any weakness. But now it's a little different, So how do you think the game has changed? And how do you think, in general, like that type of competition has changed as we're talking about mental health on the court and also making sure that people are good in that way, too?
I think it's changed through the communication, because the mindset that we had a long time ago, it was, we held a lot of things inside. But now we're able to open up. We're able to talk to other people. We're able to learn from our experiences. And that has helped change your whole mindset. And when I talk about mental welfare, that was a place where a lot of people were in, where you depended on other people for your own happiness. But the happiness that you experience, it comes from within you. So your mind gets a little stronger. And we laugh when we think about talking to yourself, but you have to talk to yourself and encourage yourself. It helps you. So I think that today we're able to just change that mindset and forget about how it was before and think about how it is right now. And communication has become key.
Well, both of you ladies have accomplished so much, and now the show is coming out July 7th, by the way, on TV One. So what else is on the bucket list for both of you as we've been sitting here talking about everything that you've done? What are some things still that you're like, okay, next on the list?
Season 2.
Yes.
3, 4,
Put it in
5. No, and just to continue this, I don't know what God has on the horizon for me at this point. because I'm learning now that I'm a little older to be in the moment. You know, a lot of times you talk about mental health, we just don't stay in the moment.
Right.
What is the next thing? And we let the world just tell us that it's not enough. And so this is great. I just want to continue to improve the show, get more guests on it, you know, diversify the guests as well, and just keep this moving until its season is over.
Okay.
Enjoy this season now.
Good enough.
And for me, although I would like to see a season 2, I'm becoming more involved in community. I just moved to Atlanta, and I want to become more involved. My family and I, we raise money for nursing scholarships in honor of our mother. So I want to continue to do that. We have a fundraising event every year, a faith and fellowship luncheon. So as long as we can, we want to be able to build up the Odessa Chambliss Quality of Life Fund. That's what our organization is called. And we raise money for different schools, colleges, universities, and I want to continue to do that and broaden that horizon.
Okay, I love that. And you have the great platform to do that. So we appreciate you. I love when people are in the position to give back, and they do. You know, that's what it's all about. But thank you guys both for joining me today. I'm really looking forward to seeing the episodes I haven't seen yet based off of what I've seen already. So I appreciate you for the work you're doing. And I could see this turning into more than a series, but maybe a whole movement. Maybe this could play into, you know, the nonprofit. I don't know. But I could see this becoming even more because moms a lot of times and families need help. And so, you know, it's nice to see that you guys are here to talk about that whole process.
Well, thank you so much for having us and giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
All right.
We appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, you guys, we are way up.